I propose you both carry on as you were.
Okay, you happy to carry on with LCN?
Yes, it's riveting meeting.
Happy might not be the right word to use, but prepared. Okay, we have a proposal from Amanda that myself and Colin carry on as the SALC and LCN representatives respectively. All those in favour, please show. That's completely carried. Unanimously.
One more flag master, which is not on that, should be.
Yes. Or
Very
mistress.
Yeah, no, or mistress.
I propose Amanda.
I propose we fly the Scottish flag, you stop repeating England and the rugby.
We won't need to buy one for a while.
I might just fly the Jolly Roger. Be done with it.
The EU flag.
Do we have a proposal then that Amanda carries on as being in
Yes.
command of the flag? All those in favour, please show. That's
Heavy
unanimous.
responsibility, man.
Oh yeah.
I'll give you a Scottish flag.
Harper will be proud of you.
John Harper made me do this before I even came on the council.
And you've still got your instructions from me as to what
Yes,
the
I
dates are
have,
as to
yeah.
what the flag should be flown. So. Excellent,
Not
that's
in the bad weather.
terrific. That covers, I think, all the elections. Excellent. So planning, we have not received any this time,
Planning.
which takes us on to the clerk's report.
Not a great deal to offer on this. Just a point to say that I'm having a delay to my operation, so I shall be available in June still, and probably as far as I know for the first part of July as well. So, so for the time being, just does me. All right. Okay. Surgery issues raised. We had a lady came in yesterday, mostly speeding and it was a regular tender, and really concerned about data, and we're going to talk about that later with the ANPR. Concerned about where the data was going, but yeah, there wasn't any, I don't think there was anybody else, was it? Just the one.
And then there was a bit of discussion about the shop at the end. When we had the second person come.
Yes.
But yeah, there was nothing
Yes.
nothing else.
Nothing. No.
That's not going to come on our agenda anyway.
Training, we've had one request for the Somerset Playing Fields Association training. That's from Melina. She's going to do that, wants to do that training. So I put her name forward to Richard Young, and apparently we were the first to put her name forward, actually. So we've done so.
Okay.
The other thing I just, sorry Andy.
Sorry, what do we get back for that? Does that give us...
Well, it doesn't cost us anything actually. It's a training which is put on by Somerset Playing Field Association, and what it does, I think the intention is just to sort of highlight things that you should be looking for in a play area. You know, things that we're perhaps maybe not even aware of. You know, just do the job of managing the play park.
Okay.
And the actual training is being done in conjunction with GB Sports and Leisure, the
Yeah.
people who do our monthly inspections. Yeah,
Mm.
It's in a daytime though, isn't it? This.
it is.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Just one other item there, which I have to report, because, and that is, I have done an internal audit for another parish council in North Curry. It's a non-chargeable, and this is important apparently that I raise it, a non-chargeable internal audit with North Curry Parish Council, just so the council are aware of it. Because I'm a member of the internal audit forum now, so I've done it for them as a resident of the village. So yeah, just I'm required to raise that because I'm employed by this council.
Okay, thank you very much. Any news on the footpaths?
There's been a bit of an issue apparently in the Windy Ridge field where they put up some signs. I haven't spoken to the actual resident or the landowner. It was a family member of theirs that spoke to me the other day in our car park and said that their signs that they put up asking for people to keep to the perimeter had been destroyed and taken down. And they've also had some vandalism to their fence where they've got their livestock. Now what I was going to say was when we get our gate up there and stuff, I wondered if we could get a footpath map blown up, not like boof kaboom, but blown up on the somewhere to indicate to people who maybe don't know this is the footpath, so we can maybe highlight the actual route.
Yeah, I think there's a problem with that field as well, insofar that people are now exercising their
Yeah,
dogs in the field
I see this
rather
every
than
day.
walking across
Yeah, I
it.
see this every day when I go up there
Yeah,
to
which
see the
is a
sheep.
bit unfair. On the
It is
vehicles.
unfair, and I don't necessarily know whether the landowners are bothered about this or not, because I said I haven't spoken to them. I was going to try and catch one of them, but I haven't actually seen one of them, but it was a relative of theirs that told me about this a couple of days ago. But yeah, I saw it yesterday. Someone pulled up in a van, got a load of dogs out, let them loose in the field, and then load them up and off they go. But I think we need something there that clearly says, I know we've got a map opposite on the little building, but it's not very easy to read. And if you weren't sure where the path was, you'd look at it, and to be honest, it looks like,
Yeah.
well,
It's just a copy of an OS map.
yeah, and
You know,
it's
it needs
so tiny, you can't really,
Yeah,
yeah,
it
so
needs
I think it needs something really
a
clear.
very simple diagram.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And on that gate, probably
Yeah,
across
yeah.
the Bakersfield.
yeah,
But I don't know, it'd be interesting to contact John Baker to see whether he's happy with people exercising
yeah, I don't
their
know. I
dogs.
mean, the other thing I was told was that some people went and had a picnic in the middle of the field and left all their rubbish there and all sorts of stuff. So I think people are using it just as a free-for-all, like you have noticed as
Well,
well.
we look to do something, but also something, I was just asking people to keep their dogs on leads.
Yeah,
I mean, they should be doing that anyway on footpaths.
Across that field, they're asked to because of the llamas in.
they were, because they said their signs had been taken down on both ends.
Would,
Okay.
would council be happy as games also to maybe through our notices that we put in the parish magazine, we highlight it as an issue so people realise it's not the landowner who's being difficult about this. This is,
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is just
yeah.
asking people to follow the code.
Mm.
Andy, did you?
No, I was just checking it was the llama field.
Yeah.
It's,
I think they might be alpacas, but it's not good.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes,
Yeah.
In terms of signage, I mean, obviously some of the Hungarian signs would be, is this what we're thinking?
it needs to be one they can't vandalise, so it needs to be pressed tin, doesn't it? And we're going to expense, but not on post.
It does
Because
need
the one
to
they
be
put
posted.
on didn't look official,
Yeah.
and it has been ignored.
Yeah, well, I think they thought that, nice and polite, just would you mind, keep them. But I got told that their fence where they've got their alpacas has been vandalised as well, so which is,
Interesting on that, whether that's kids or people, the fence on the footpath on the way out to Breen over here, somebody's taken the gate off and laid it across the green
Yeah.
as a bridge, a metal gate, which means we've got a farmer's fields now, two of them exposed. But more important, we've got a gate across the green, so we need to get that lifted and put back in place.
yeah.
So it looks like there's
Okay. Well, if you're happy, we get a quote then from maybe contact area.
We need to know what size we want basically,
Yeah.
and what template we're going to use for the map, what we're actually going to use for the sign.
There's some quite simplified ones that you've got,
Yeah,
haven't
I could
We
use
use
something.
So we could get them.
Laminate.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. Well, they're Hungarian signs, they normally get these things done very quickly.
Okay. Excellent. Anything else on footpath at the moment? Okay. Anything on highways?
Can I just put in? Stone Mills Roberts, I've forgotten his Christian name. Richard asked me about the damage to the curbs, and well, not the curbs, the if you like, the verge, the other side of the curb, which has been run over by a heavy truck and gone all the way up Cedar Close, and it's a bit unsightly really. And I can understand Richard being upset about it, but I don't know what we do, whether we get somebody in, or say Jason or somebody, to knock it all back or fill it with something, but it needs attention.
We've had a complaint also from another resident. Apparently, we've been told it's been caused because vehicles are parking on Cedar Close, and it's the recycling and rubbish lorries, when they've been trying to get round the vehicles, have ended up chewing up the ground.
The school parking up there is quite
So we
want some bricks.
Yeah, we're chasing homes in Sedgwick at the moment because the information we've been given is the car or the vehicle that's been causing the blockage belongs to someone in one of the homes in Sedgwick houses. So we're seeing if they can chase that with the tenant. We're also raising it with the lorry, the recycling and rubbish lorries to make sure that they can look into it. But in terms of work, I have no problem if we got Jason to fill it in with some soil. Or do it ourselves.
Is that going to do the job? Or we could do it, couldn't we?
We could.
It just needs sort of hacking back a bit, where it's forced it up, hacking back, and then just filling.
Yeah,
We could do
checking
that.
some
couldn't
soil.
we? Yeah.
Well, if are you happy to
Yeah.
coordinate?
Yeah,
Yeah,
All right.
give it a
yeah,
Excellent.
I
And that's for any volunteers you need. So
yeah, okay.
okay, excellent. Highways.
No, nothing to report.
Okay, a couple of things. Because the verge is covered, that's dealt with that one. We also had a letter sent round to all of us as members relating to dog fouling, particularly down Middle Street. We were going to just get your agreement that we highlight this again in the parish magazine, that this is something that people need to take some responsibility for their dogs, because it is becoming pretty horrible down there. And yes, we'll highlight both.
Yeah.
Can you make a note of Bodies Lane as well as Middle Street?
Sedgemoor, sorry to butt in,
Yeah.
but Sedgemoor did have the usual warning signs, and they were just tiny signs. There's no reason why we can't get some of those pinned about.
We could have a dog poo police officer.
I wonder who you nominate for that.
Well, it's a dog poo officer.
We could get a uniform.
I'm not going to volunteer
We can
to
get
be
your
a
hats
monitor,
then,
but I will contact Somerset Council and see if they've got any of the signs like Sedgwick used to have that could be stuck
Yeah,
up.
I think I've got one.
Okay. Excellent.
Can I just, is there still a fine for that?
Yes,
Is there-
as long as they're
as long as you
caught, but you've got to
catch.
catch them in the act.
Yeah.
Because then there's arguments about was it that dog or somebody else. Exactly.
That's your
Little
job.
GoPro out tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay. If there's anything else on highways, Village Green.
Well, I think it was Aid was.
Well, I sort of missed one, so I picked up on that.
Great.
I'll return the form. My apologies for not returning the form. The only thing really to say is the scar right down the centre needs attention before we let the kids back on it. The rest of it is the usual painting and general maintenance. The toilets are okay, but the village green, it's got that great scar down the centre, which as you walk in you can see anyway. So
Are they going to roller it?
I think they're letting it settle first, see how much it settles.
Have they actually put the new cable in yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all done.
It's all done?
Yeah.
Okay. What have they done about the transformer down the corner?
No, nothing.
We're still chasing on that as to what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bit of a communication breakdown there, I think, between National Grid and ourselves about what they were going to be doing with the transformer. We thought, that, they were leaving it as it is, and the resident thought it was going to be replaced. As far as I know, National Grid are talking to the resident directly.
And also, I mean, they are coming back at some point before the building works start to do this spike test to prove to the builders that the thing is no longer live. But
Not too many volunteers for that.
but we will continue to chase them on what's happening at the top of the green, because at the moment there is still a hole in the ground up there as well. So
they haven't finished.
Yeah.
Who's next on the village green?
Well, there's a gap on the rotor, so I think we just need to, because
I'll do it because I missed it.
Okay, so are you happy to carry on
Thank you.
and do it, Andy? And then we need to perhaps have another look at the rotor. Once we've got if we've got new members coming on board, we need to reschedule the rotor a bit.
Can I ask a quick question then about that transformer? When are the trees coming down?
that's the next. We keep picking my items off the agenda. Right, no problem at all. So we have some updates on the ash tree. So the state of play is we had permission from the trees officer at Sedgemoor that she had seen that it was ash dieback, that she was happy with that. What has now happened is that officer has left the authority and is no longer contactable. There is a new tree officer in place who, as you remember, we submitted, or our tree surgeon submitted a TPO application that the works could be carried out on the trees.
Yeah.
Somerset have now said, or the new tree officer has said, they have no evidence that the tree has got ash dieback, and until it's got some leaves on it, they will not make a decision on the TPO. So they have asked the tree surgeon to withdraw the application for the TPO, wait until the leaves have come on the tree, then take pictures of the tree looking sick, and at that point they will then grant us permission to take it down. So we are having to wait for the moment, but it's again one of these transition things between the two councils. Had the original officer still been there, it would have been done and dusted by now. But unfortunately, we're having to wait. Also on the the village green, just one thing I was going to raise, I think it's probably best to raise at this point. At an earlier meeting, it was reported that there was some graffiti that had taken place on particularly the slide, which is more difficult to get off because it's not on a painted surface or metal. So I was asked to find out information about graffiti removal, so I contacted the play parks people at the council, and they have sent us details of the product that they use for getting graffiti off of surfaces. They're called graffiti safe wipes. There are 70 wipes in a tub, and it costs £70.
What do you mean nail varnish removal? I think that gets it, isn't it?
It's
Well, I wonder what's actually...
They say that if you're using it, you need to make sure you're wearing very good gloves, because it is
So we need to buy some gloves for it.
I wonder what the actual the chemical is. Because I was just going to get some nail varnish remover and try and get it off, because that gets marker pen off.
I mean, it's up to members as to, but
That seems a
that's,
hefty
You have
price,
to do
isn't
a
it?
cost assessment and health and safety if you're using something like that.
If you're going to wear gloves, you're going to have to wear a mask, aren't you?
If you go online, I understand that you might get the formula of that product. They normally have to give the details of the chemical formulation.
if members want to have a look then online, see if you can find something else that's similar, but that's as I say, that's what the council uses, and it obviously is recommended.
It's
to
just
use on
like
play
marker
equipment.
pen, isn't it? It looks like marker pen.
But if you're happy to try,
I'll try
Your
some
nail
nail varnish
varnish
remover.
I would have thought that only people properly assessed can use that.
okay,
Cleaners who have been trained.
right, okay. Well, we'll
Yeah.
happy to
As well.
yeah, we'll leave that with.
Yeah, I'll get it. Will.
All right. And the final thing I've got on Village Green is the letter that we've had come in from yes. Have you got the letter there? From Year 6 pupils.
Yeah, it's here somewhere. There it is.
So we've been approached, which said in a letter which says, "Dear members of the Parish Council, Brent Knoll's Year 6 are planning a sports day. Our school has grown and the new buildings have been placed on our playing field, which means it is no longer large enough for a 100-metre track and is also very bumpy. We were wondering if you would consider letting us use the village green. It would be much safer and a larger space for parents to enjoy this spirit-lifting event. Yours sincerely, the Year 6 class of Brent Knoll Primary," and it's signed by a number of the pupils. We have, historically, we have in the past occasionally had the school mark out a running track on the village green.
But it's quite nice to use it.
Yeah.
When do they want it?
They haven't given us a date yet, so we would need
It'll
to.
just be whether this is...
And
settled
because
in
obviously
whatever.
we also have, when the build takes place, there is the soakaway, which is going to be dug under the green as well. So there's going to be another hole dug and then covered, so that will be a little bit of a mess at that time as well. But
Should we ask them
in
to
principle,
have
are you
dates?
happy that we say yes in principle, give us some more information as to when and we'll need
It's
to
what
fill.
it's there for, isn't it?
Yeah, it'd be nice to
Yeah.
use it.
Yeah.
Okay. And hopefully with the grass being mown that little bit shorter, it should be good. Excellent. Well, you're happy to respond on that, right?
Yeah, I'll do that. All right.
Everyone happy that we do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Right, that's for this room. Audit and staffing group, I don't think met, nor of buildings
Well, the
work.
building work group, 25th of April, we had a meeting in here last Thursday with Paul Martin. Remember, Paul Martin is now coordinating these things, it's not us coordinating, it's him coordinating them. And it was really to have a meeting with the shop primarily to find out whether there were any issues regarding the counter placement or any of the internal fittings. There were some issues raised, but Paul is looking into them. I don't think there's anything particularly significant. The shop are slightly concerned about the plans and whether they're using the same plans as the plans being used by Paul. But I think this is what Paul, is what we're paying Paul for, actually to get these sort of things cleared up. I mean, it is an internal matter, so it doesn't really affect us. It's not really a building issue as opposed to an internal fitting issue. So more on that later, I guess.
Okay. And the shop working group, I don't think we met either last month.
No.
Okay. Which takes us on to the policy documents, which members have circulated to them by OIC. The first was the civility and respect policy, which we had for us last time. We said we would give members a bit of an extra chance to read it. Any comments, or are members happy that we adopt this as a
Happy?
basis of the way that we should all be treating each other on the council?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
definitely.
Proposed by Malcolm? Or, sorry, Colin?
Yeah, I've had a look at these, and they are, some things are duplicated in the conduct and the civility. But the interesting thing is that some of the items in the civility and code of conduct are also covered in our press and media and communications policy, in particular when a councillor uses Facebook or Nextdoor, for instance, or has a Twitter account, in what the obligations are. So I think probably at our next meeting, when we hopefully have a full attendance, we just point that out. But I'm happy to propose that all three policies, I should take all three in one go.
Yeah, happy with
I'm
that.
happy
The
that
members of all, unless there's anything that members want to bring up about any of the other two policies.
no.
The other two are unchanged, they've got standing orders and code of conduct, there's
Yeah.
nothing changed
Yeah.
on those.
Excellent. So we've got a proposal that we adopt those three policies updated. All those in favour, please show. Excellent. And again, over the ensuing month, we will have other policies which will be brought forward, so we can look at those
Yeah.
over time. Okay. Somerset Council member, right. I'll keep it brief. Budget-wise, things are still very tight. We have a couple of issues that have been in the press recently, which you may well have seen. There was a very contentious debate at full council relating to one of the commercial investments that the council has, which is an office block at Aztec West, which has an occupier who is an Israeli company which has connections to the defence industries. There was a resolution at the full council that that should be the lease should be terminated. The council decided that they would do that, but they would make sure it was in a legal way of doing it, or there was a legal way of doing it. Since then, you will have seen that the council had to apologise because the motion that was put by members insinuated that the company was supplying weaponry to what was going on in Israel and Gaza at the moment, which they have denied. So we're waiting to see whether that is taken any further by a particular company. But that is one of the council has already passed a policy which is all our commercial investments are being disposed of. So that building will be disposed of anyway, but it was a motion that was put by a couple of members before council. We've also had an issue that has come up recently with a company called Suez, who are the people who do our rubbish and recycling. they have basically come back to say that having had the increasing costs due to inflation, they cannot operate at the budget that they originally had quoted for, and they are wanting to enter into negotiations with the council on the basis that if there is not a negotiated settlement, they will look to go into the termination of that contract and hand it back to the council. There are ongoing discussions, but it will mean that there will be extra costs in all likelihood on the council, because there are two big companies that tend to do these contracts. One is Suez, one is Biffa. There are not many other big people out there who could cope with the size of the contract that Somerset operate, but there is discussion going on that to see if there are other options. But currently the option is being put by Suez that they would hand back the contract with penalty payments to them, and in all likelihood they probably end up coming back at a higher price. But Andy?
That would be a small cost to them anyway, the size of the company. So, is this anyway related to the green bins and everybody being asked to pay up front again, even though there was going to be, remember we were all going to get, I think it was 2-3 months free, because they didn't deliver for didn't service us first 2-3 months last year, but everybody's been requested now to pay the bill again. So,
Yes.
So I don't know if it's the same company.
It is.
It is. So we'll assume that they're asking for payment at the same time they're asking to close the contract.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the payment will be received by the council, and then that money is used in effect to help pay for the contract. So the request to you as a green bin is from the council, not from the company.
Have you been asked to renew your consent?
The manager of our small estate informed me today, yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
The man got a request.
On top of that, as I say, the finance situation is still fairly tight. I mentioned at previous meetings we were going down the voluntary redundancy route. It looks like there are insufficient numbers of people who come forward for voluntary redundancy to meet the financial situation that we're in. So we will probably, over the next couple of months, be looking at compulsory redundancies as well. The danger with that is that has a process you need to go through, which means it will take a period of time, and budget-wise, that is one of the things that Somerset Council doesn't have a lot of. So things are getting pretty tight currently.
Are you unionised?
Yes.
Okay.
So, any questions that anyone's got on Somerset matters? Okay. Financial report.
There's a couple of things. There's quite a lot of variable payments. The statutory list, which is the May 2024, these are the payments that were agreed on the March 6th meeting, 241/23. These are our statutory requirements to staffing, to contracts, and one or two other areas that were agreed, and there's no change to any of those. They're all as they were when they were agreed on March 6th. The variable payment list is lengthy, although mostly fairly straightforward. Playingfield Association subscription, £15, no VAT on that. Somerset Air Ambulance fee, this was for their presentation at the annual meeting. Groundworks to football. Sorry,
Malcolm.
I thought the air ambulance attendance fee was going to be sponsored.
it all seemed to be uncertain. One of our councillors did suggest possibly making the payment, but I've heard no more since.
Right.
So the answers I don't really know on that. I was rather hoping that the councillor involved would be here this evening and I'd be able to ask a question, but not here. So, so just need to think about that one as to whether you're happy to pass it or not.
Can I just ask, in terms of the air ambulance, we had a problem with their grant payment before about it going through.
We never paid them in the end.
So would it, in effect, if we took that from the grant element and made up the balance,
So we could make £200
so £200 grant and a £50 payment for their visit,
So it would cost us
it's the same for 250.
Yeah.
Okay, we do that.
Okay.
All right. groundworks to the footpath at the rear of the church. This is the Kenny Gordon work that's been done behind the church, which the council agreed some time ago to approve, £720, including 120 VAT. Somerset Council invoice for the Hill Lane bin maintenance contract of £232. That's a 6 monthly charge. Again, 38.81 VAT on that. Water to business, a bit concerning. Our water to business rates doubled in this half year.
Good heavens.
Don't know why.
I do, because that tap's
tap's
constantly
running.
left on. Every time I go in there, that tap is running at full bore.
That's certainly one of the things we need to make sure
Yeah.
it's
I turned it off
changed
so
into new
tight
ones.
that hopefully nobody could turn it back on, but it always is
The
on.
good news is it'll probably level out during the next 6 months because we won't be using it.
Yeah.
So if we get over a full year, we'll probably find that actually we won't have paid any more, but we won't have paid any less either.
How much is our water bill?
426 for a half year.
Per half year, so 800 a year.
Yeah.
Is it worth us just replacing, if we buy one of the press down taps, and just replacing that until such time as we rip it all out? Because they're only 50, 60 quid.
Mm.
In all, like, I mean, the building works start at the end of this month.
That's true.
So,
But are they going to rip out, or are they going to, yeah,
yeah, so basically the toilets get
Too late.
knocked down then, so
too late?
quite.
Are they not providing a standing water pipe for the main contractor out of the toilets? So they will want water.
Yeah.
So our water bill will increase.
No, he will be paying for it. It's part of his costs.
He's aware of that,
Yeah.
is he? Okay.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that did come up last week actually,
Yeah.
building committee. And then we've got Richard Young, the internal audit fee, and I think I sent you an email saying that the internal audit was cleared, no issues. Brent Knoll Parish room hire, £159, that brings us pretty well, close to up to date I think, having looked at it. The Aquablast drainage repair, Aquablast had to come and do a clearance job early in April because it was overflowing in there apparently. So they did a clearance job, which is £138. The other one here, the insurance is an unusual one because normally we just approve it because insurance doesn't normally change very much, but it's gone up by 19% this time around. And I've sent out a note today to Zurich, who's an alternative insurer, to ask whether they can quote for us on the insurance policy. So I expect them to ask me to send me the current policy so they can see what we're covered for and what we're not covered for. But I should also need to mention to them the fact that the toilet block is being demolished and there is building work going on during the first part of the insurance year. So some discussions I had to have there, either with a new insurer or the existing. Either way, there's some discussions to have with them. So I should be looking into that over the next few weeks. It's not due until June, so we can probably get approved at the June meeting for that. I did put on here to be confirmed a sort of an advance resolution, but I don't think that's necessary. So you can come to the meeting in June, and we can make a decision then. It's better to do that really. And then Paul Martin's April invoice, this is his first invoice for his project management programme of 11/17/85, no VAT on that of course. And that seems to comply with his charges that he outlined to us with his monthly meetings and the various other things he's been doing for us. So I'm happy that what he's done does seem to comply with what he originally quoted us on. So that's...
So do you want two separate resolutions?
Yes,
One
I'd
for
like
the
better to have
statutory-
two, one for the statutory ones and then one for the variable.
Okay. Is there a proposal that the statutory payments are made as per normal? Thank you, Colin. All those in favour, please show. That's unanimous. On the variable payment list, our members can we propose that they are paid? No, thank you.
So that's including Paul's
Including
account
Paul's.
and the Aquablast.
of glass, but not including the insurance.
Okay, yeah.
All those in favour, please show. I'm going to abstain on those because obviously there's two in there which
Yeah.
I don't
Well, we've got 4 there anyway, so that's fine. Yeah, the monthly budget update I sent to you, and what that does, I think, Colin, I think you mentioned it, perhaps back along when we were doing the precept, that we ought to really have a regular update on budget. Obviously on the May one, there's very little to report really, there's only 1 month's figures on there. But what it does show now, the latest one that I sent this morning, is that we've now received our precept of 60,000, which now comes in one lump from Somerset Council. So this month, obviously our income budget has soared because we've got 60,000 from precept, we've got 26,000 from section 14, and we've got the first tranche of our loan, so that's nearly 40,000. So our income for the first part of the budget period is 125,000. But of course that will gradually utilised through the coming months. And then of course there'll be another tranche of the loan coming in May. So that's all working according to plan. But apart from that, the payments, there's very little to say really. It's 1 month's payments effectively. So that will gradually take shape as the year progresses. And I update it each month to get more of a handle on what's what. Are you happy with any questions on that at all? No other. Current inwards funds, I've dealt with that. Current inwards funds.
Well, that was about transferring it to the interest bearing.
Yeah, oh, that's right. Yeah, we transferred some of it to the interest bearing account. The PWLB loan and the section 14 is now in the sort of reserve account, but we need to do the same with the precept. So I need just approval to move that across to our interest bearing account. And then get Colin to authorise it.
Yeah.
Just on the contribution from the shop, we're after that letter saying that if we didn't spend it, we'd return it. Were they happy with the documents they get?
They were happy. Yeah, I didn't get any queries on it. I sent them a letter with a document, and they haven't come back with any queries, so I'm assuming they're happy with it. Yeah, that's all worked fairly smoothly in the end, actually.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. So did we vote on that?
No, there's no vote. There's no vote.
All right.
on that.
Okay, so matters of consideration, shop toilet bill update. I've already mentioned the loan application and the fact we had the first tranche down and when the next one is.
Yeah.
Also was mentioned the fact that obviously the JCT contract has been signed and is underway. One thing on that I was going to raise, a number of months ago we talked about the relocation of the phone box from outside the old shop to down on towards the village green. We've got the potential, we've had an estimate as to what the cost would be, and we have got sources of funding that would pay for the moving of the phone box down to being outside the new shop. But we just wanted to double check with members. The suggestion that has been made is that in effect, and I'll pass this round, the location would be to the left-hand side of the door of the shop as people go in. That way it doesn't restrict the pavement width. If you put it near to the toilets, it's the car park width of the pavement then gets difficult for disabled access. And on the other side of the shop there is a window, which obviously we wouldn't want to obstruct. But the quote we've had from Ashley would be for removing it from outside the shop, moving it down to outside the new shop and connecting it up electrically so it has the same power as it currently has. So were we to want to do something in there which needed power in the future, that would be doable. And as I say, we've got sponsorship for the payment of that. And at the moment, it would be the initial use would be as it is as an information point. But it was, I mean, when we discussed it, I think it was 5 or 6 months ago, it was felt that as a heritage item in the village, it was important that it had a prominent position, and we talked about moving it to the green location. And I think to some extent it would also make the shop look like it's established there for longer anyway, because it's part historic part of the village.
It'd be quite good as an early information point, isn't it, really?
The problem is when you look around the other villages, you've got to keep on top of it because they look
Yeah.
quite untidy very quickly.
I think
So we're
also,
going to have to keep on it.
yeah, also if you're going to put it there, I think it will need to be repainted and made to look right. And it's supposed to be an information place at the moment, but it's not. It's never been. But it could be a place where they put people's newspapers to be collected, because they put them in a box, don't they? And you rummage around the back looking for your box.
Yeah.
Because that might be a more useful thing for it. So
Dare we say defibrillator?
With the power connection, there's always that option.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least you'll be able to find it.
Yes. No, that is certainly something that could be.
The D word.
New council, new ideas.
So our members happy that we proceed on the basis of going ahead. And again, what we would do on that would be the sponsorship money for it will be paid to the parish council so that it can then be paid through us.
Yeah.
Get that sorted.
yeah,
The other thing that we'd like to do at the same time is, again, you had a quote from Ashley to put a power connection from the toilet block out to where the Christmas tree was this year, so that we could have 2 external power points in a box. So that instead of having cables moving over everybody's walkways, there will be an actual power source out there that can be used at any time of the year and controlled by us as the parish council. Again, there will be sponsorship for that, so it's no cost to the council, but it will mean that it's a legacy that we can then use going forward.
Will it be a lockable?
Yes.
the parish council don't have to buy the Christmas tree.
It wouldn't be. They wouldn't have to supply the Christmas tree.
But we've never supplied the power for it, surely.
No, you haven't. That's
It's
absolutely true.
been the village hall.
It has.
So is this something we are now inheriting?
It would be a decision if the council don't wish to
No,
put the power to it. That would be
no.
no choice. I think these days the fact that it's LED lighting, the amount of money we're talking is fairly limited.
I'm just drilling down into what your deviousness.
No,
Mr.
it's a kind of it's a little bit of a joint enterprise, isn't it? Because historically it's been between Bob, David and myself. We've somehow got it here,
No.
got it up.
I'm perfectly happy. It's just,
Now it has
it would have been
permanent
better if you
sites.
said, normally the parish the village hall did this, but now the parish council.
Happy to acknowledge that yes, it would be the council's responsibility of supplying the power. But yeah.
No, that's fine.
Add it to the precept.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll get that sorted too. Thank you.
I insist on switching the lights on.
Police.
Now we've got a final, we've got a now definitive lease, which looks to be okay. Bob and I have looked at it, and obviously we're now going to distribute it to the rest of the council. It's taken long enough to get it, but we now have it, and it looks okay, doesn't it? But barring a few little tweaks here and there, it looks okay.
And our solicitors have now shared it with the solicitors
The
of the
shop.
shop, so they can be looking at it as well. So
And this is still at the moment strictly private and confidential, not the general release.
absolutely. So it'll come. We're going to distribute it amongst councillors on the basis that it is a private and confidential document, not to be shared beyond the council, because nothing is agreed on it as yet.
No.
So it's. But yes, we will make sure that is made clear in the email that goes
And
around.
the last thing we would want is any input into it from outside the council, because we're paying a solicitor to do it. So we
Yeah,
can
but also it's a commercially sensitive document.
Okay, so that's the least. But so hopefully, you'll have a look at it and you'll read through it and you'll think, yeah, lovely document.
Yeah. Well, what are those words mean?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay. Any other financials to be considered?
I'm not aware of anything at the moment.
Not on the. No.
Sure.
Okay. Next item then is the review of the annual parish meeting on the 17th of April.
Any comments, really?
I mean, the only feedback I've had is there was slightly less attendance this year than last. I mean, last year, to be fair, was a very good attendance. That was one of the best we've had for a long time. I think most people found it interesting who were there, who've commented to me.
28 members there in total.
Yeah.
So fairly good.
And compared with a number of other parish meetings that I attend in other parishes, that's a fairly high number, which is sad, but it is the fact that, yeah, I thought, again, that it worked okay. We had the microphone this year, which made life a little easier, I think, for people. So hopefully...
There was quite a lot on there, wasn't there? I mean, there was quite a lot of items.
Yeah.
But I think most of them were fairly short.
And there were some interesting presentations. We had the shop give their background of what they've done so far, what they're planning to do. There were questions and answers that were addressed. And as I say, most people who left that evening were pretty positive about what they'd heard from everybody. So,
Yeah.
And can we pass on thanks also for the refreshments?
Yes.
Because that was,
My apologies
they
for that.
were appreciated. Okay, if there's nothing else on the annual parish, AMPR, data and operational matters.
Not sure what to say about that, Bob, really. It's a bit of a funny one, this, really. We got the AMPR in place, and we've invested £2,000 of our money and £5,000 grant. But the question of the data is becoming a bit of an issue. We don't have anywhere to send the data to, so we don't know really how effective any of it is. I mean, I've got data on there, but I don't know where to send it to, because I'm not given any instructions from the police.
And legally, we're not allowed to mine it, are we?
No.
Because there was a suggestion made that we could pass it on to the people who run the speed watch and they could just pass it to the police.
Yeah.
And we've been advised, no we can't, because we can't give it to the speed watch people because we can only give it to the police. We have exchanged emails with the police saying this is getting silly, that there's public money here that's being spent, you can't just tell us not to do anything with it. We are looking to probably, the issue that's been raised with this, they're saying it's this national problem about how they are, the licensing of the whole process, which Owen raised with them before and got a solution as to how we had to deal with it, with putting our information on the website so that we were okay, but they're now querying again, so we're looking to potentially escalate it and get, potentially I think what we may well do is we're giving one last chance to the police to do it themselves, but if they don't then we'll raise it through the local MP
And Police and Crime Commissioner.
to look at the fact that this is public money and we need to make sure that it's being used properly. And the fact we've got the data is just so frustrating.
The police and crime, why don't we send them the data?
Well, yeah,
We are, but we're waiting till
wait
after
for
tomorrow to send it to.
Might be a different one.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's been voted in, isn't it? Yeah.
Well,
Not so long ago, one of our previous members was caught by a similar camera in Burnham, in Stodden's Road, and he received correspondence giving him its speed and normal advice. So they must have some sort of contact that they deal with.
the messages we're getting back from the police are confused, to say the least, because, again, we had it raised with us that there have been discussions with the local police who were saying, why are you setting this at certain levels, you should be setting it at a lower level and getting on with it. We went back to the local police to say, come on, what's happening then? We're getting two different messages here, and the local police have now come back saying you need to talk to the person that we are talking to, because they're the ones who coordinate it. So there is a complete left-hand, right-hand situation in the police at the moment of what they can and can't do. But the whole point of this was we were going to be a trial, not just for the benefit of us, but for the benefit of the police, to see how the thing operates, and if it works well, to roll it out. But they just seem to have gotten themselves very confused. But it's not for want of Owen trying to chase.
We've had an awful lot of other parishes come to us as well, because we were a pilot. I've had, I think it's 23 councils now come down the country asking for information about it. And I've simply referred them back to their own police authorities. Because, frankly, I wouldn't have the time to answer all the questions they were asking, because they were all asking different questions. So I just simply said to them, go back to your own police authority and deal with it. The only ones I've given information to are the ones at local. So,
It's a shame, because it's a great idea.
And the system is working, because we had a presentation from Stuart at the annual parish meeting where he circulated, with the bits redacted, pictures showing what had been caught on camera, and they are incredibly clear and good information. There is no argument that people can say that's not really my car. So
You know when they did a similar thing in Sweden, it caused divorces? Just a warning to councillors.
yes,
in Station Road over a three-week period, or it might be Ham Road, I'm not sure.
yes, Ham.
Ham Road, there was about 6 cars recorded at doing over 45 in a 30-mile limit. So, and those registration numbers are on there. You know, in fact, one of the vehicles, it was twice. One was 45, one was 48. So clearly the machine is picking it up. It's a question of what we do with it.
But we will continue to push on that and we'll keep you informed as to progress. Flood remitting letters, yes, just to give you an update on where we are with that. There was a meeting held with the Internal Drainage Board, David and myself, having a look at various issues around the patch. Starting at the bottom, so the grill opposite Francis James's house, that they looked at and have agreed that they are going to do more frequent clearing of that green. They have also, it was taken to the board meeting, that they are going to take into view, so they will start maintaining the piece that runs then through the field and up to Hill Lane, which at the moment is not maintained by them at all, but they are going to start doing that because they accepted the argument that David made, which was there's an awful lot of growth that is being washed down when the water comes down fast, and that's what's clogging everything up. So they have taken that on board. They will not take any responsibility for the grill halfway up the hill because that's outside of their area. And so at the moment I'm chasing up the local flood authority, which is Somerset, because that potentially falls to them. But it's not being done by anybody at the moment. So
That's the one opposite Cotswold.
that's the one.
Yeah, that's the one that you nearly fell in.
Yes. So that is being followed up through the Somerset, the lead local flood authority. We then also looked with them at the church area and the footpath. They have said that they suggested that we didn't proceed quickly with the plan that we were looking at doing with the ditch, because their concern was that we would facilitate the flow of the water and it would flow quickly and it would get to the bottom, but where does it then go? So they suggested that we ought to talk to a flood engineer to look at what needs to be done, because their view is we need to slow the flow, not speed it up. So we had a word with the IDB. Their flood people can't work with us because they have an agreement they won't have any contracts with anyone other than the IDB within the area, but they have given us a name of a contact of a company to get in touch with. And I wanted to get your permission tonight that we can talk to them. We won't commit any expenditure at the moment, but at least we can start to get a plan as to how they think we could deal with it, and then we'll be having to talk to the landowners, because it will mean the IDB's view was you create a series of steps in effect to slow it, but that will need work on private land.
That makes a lot of sense, doesn't it, Rob? Because if we're going to spend money to fix the flooding, we don't want to spend it to accelerate the flooding. So if we can get a professional to tell us what to do, that would be great.
Okay. Well, I'll chase up this contact and then get the information around to members, and then try and meet on site to look at what needs to be done. Colin?
Mr. Chairman, Amanda, can you have a word with David? Because right at the top of Hill Lane, where you turn into the farm, the water, as you know, comes down the farm, turns, and then goes down Hill Lane slightly, and then it goes down a V-shaped gully to go down. That has been blocked now by a lorry who has gone in there, moved all the soil, and it's blocked. because you get David to
Yeah.
see whether it can hack it back.
Mm.
Because if
Yeah.
it does rain,
Mm.
it's going to go straight down the road
Yeah,
rather than
yes,
go down the...
Exactly, rather
Yeah.
than going
Yeah.
it's meant to.
Please.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mm.
excellent. Which takes us on to the next one, which is the high-vis jackets and equipment needed, which at the last meeting we were circulated information which was a request for us to be able to go and buy high-vis jackets, road signs, ditching fork, head torches and drain lid lifters. The total of everything on that list comes to just under £500. So we put it on the agenda so that if members are happy to give authorisation that we go ahead and do that and spend that money to get those pieces of equipment that we need.
Sorry, Mr.
Yeah.
It's a pity that the flood group, the members of the flood group, were all issued with trousers and high-vis jackets. I've still got mine, which at the time, but yes, so be it. I think it's important.
You can get it exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so can I have a proposal that we go ahead and do that? Thank you.
Yes.
All in favour, please show.
Okay.
That's unanimous. So I think you've got that.
I've got that.
Yeah, excellent.
Of course, I may not be able to get into that.
We'll have to go on a diet and see if we can squeeze back into it.
Okay. Co-option process.
Co-option process, we put the notices up, and which expires on the 8th of May, and that is a statutory list that's gone up, or statutory requirements gone up, asking if anybody can come up with 10 electors, then they can apply to have a vacancy by means of an election. No one's come forward on that yet, at least as far as I know. They haven't spoken to the Somerset Council office on that, but as of May the 8th, we can then effectively advertise for co-options. And really, we were just saying, perhaps a bit earlier, we need to get permission from the council. We need to be able to do it straight after the 8th of May. Because if we leave it till June, there's another month effectively gone. So if we can have permission from this council to say, yes, we are going to go for co-option, and therefore we need to advertise the fact that there are vacancies, put it in the Brent Knoll News, put it on the notice boards, put it on the website, and circulate it to who might want it circulated to. That's basically what it is at the moment.
Okay. Can I have a proposal that we do that? Thank you. All those in favour, please show. That's clearly carried. Thank you very much. The graffiti issues we dealt with. The last one was a few months ago. We discussed the issue of the various the two takeaways, the fish and chips and the pizza, that have been operating from the car park on a trial basis. We said we would review it again in the new year. Are there any comments that members have had back, either positive or negative, and are you happy that it continues?
We had one comment from a resident not too far from it that said the new ones were quieter than the old ones, and that was the only comment. So from that, I've had nothing back.
The quality of the chips?
Don't know. That's probably to have a
That's
look
a
at
very
maybe
good
a watch or
point.
something.
Curry sauce is very nice.
One of the things that's helped with the noise side is that both of them actually plug into the back of the parish hall to take their power, so they don't need generators. So they just take it off the electric box at the back.
We're going to have to put a meter on this one.
It's the parish
Lock on our...
Yes, the one that is here actually is metered, so they do pay for the electric they use back to the hall, just so they're not they're not out of pocket. But so I'm very happy then that we allow both to continue on the current setup.
Yeah.
All those in favour, please show. Excellent. That's all I've got under the items that were listed. So matters of report. No, none from me.
No.
So that's everything. Thank you very much. We'll close the meeting at 2.